It's Mahomes' world. We're paying rent in it. Okay, listen, everyone. I understand you might be sick and tired of hearing about Patrick Mahomes. Too bad. Honestly. And you might be sick and tired of hearing about the Chiefs in general. It's too bad. And if you're sick and tired of hearing about Taylor Swift, she won Album of the Year for the fourth time, a record fourth time last night.
And just so casually dropped that she's got a new album coming out in 2 months?
You know what? Because you know when you're on a tour around the world, why not create a new album? All right. So too bad. And Niners fans are out there saying, we can stop the conversation. And yes, you can. Yes, you can. You've got to take Mahomes and put his ass on the turf in Las Vegas, Nevada. Period. End of story. That's what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did to him. And that's what you need to do to him. And they are equipped to do it. They are equipped to do it. The last time they faced him in the Super Bowl, it was 4 years ago, last Friday, by the way. And they had a 10-point lead on this guy with 7 minutes to go. 20-10 was the score of Super Bowl 54. And then they scored 21 unanswered, the Chiefs did, to win it. And this is the last time they played each other when Patrick Mahomes was a mere pup. He walked into that Super Bowl in Hard Rock Stadium in South Florida, just 3-1 in his playoff career. That's it. If you want to, while we're strolling down memory lane here, do you know who was the first guy Patrick Mahomes beat in the playoffs? I'll answer it for you. His name was Andrew Luck.
Ah.
Isn't it amazing Andrew Luck played 4 years ago? Feels like 19, at any rate. Then Mahomes lost in the AFC Championship game to Tom Brady. Returned to the playoffs the next year, and it looked like this team that got a bye and hosted a divisional round game against the Houston Texans, looks like they were going to get bounced, and Mahomes was going to get sent under 500 in his playoff career as Houston led 24-0 in that game. And then Mahomes led at halftime anyway, 28-24. Then comes the AFC Championship game against the Tennessee Titans, which led Mahomes by 10 points in the second half, and Mahomes won that game anyway. And that's how he went into the Super Bowl. Totally vulnerable, it appeared. Because here was a kid just learning his way into the second season and wriggling off the hook a little bit in the divisional round and in the AFC Championship game. And here he was down 10 with 7 minutes to go in the Super Bowl. And he won. And that kid who went into the Super Bowl 3-1 in his playoff career is now 14-3 in his playoff career. And as we learned in that playoffs, he has quite the knack for coming back in playoff games in which he's trailed by 7 or more points. How about this statistic, just to give you a sense of the air of invincibility that Mahomes now has surrounding him in his playoff career? We could, mention how he now has 13 playoff wins since 2019. That's the most playoff wins in a 5-season span in NFL history. 2 other 5-season spans, just a little bit worse than him. Tom Brady from 2016 to 2020 and 2014 to 2018. Brady was 12-2 in those stretches. Mahomes is 13-2 in his 5-game stretch. He needs 2 touchdown passes in the Super Bowl to pass Peyton Manning for 5th all time. But if he does that, he passes Kurt Warner and Steve Young, 2 of our guests in Vegas this week, for the 5th most touchdown passes in the history of the Super Bowl. But here's the stat. Because if the Niners do what they couldn't do in their 2 games to reach the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, which is take a lead, not fall down and come back, take a lead. and get Mahomes down by a touchdown or more again. This is the stat. Patrick Mahomes, in his playoff career, in which the Chiefs have trailed by 7 or more points, is 8-2 in those games. Think about it. Think about it. Right? You keep hearing about in the playoffs, you need to be 10, 15, 20% better than you are in the regular season.
Man, oh, man.
He's 8-2 in those games. Now, they didn't trail by 7 against Miami in the wild card round, and they didn't trail, as we know, at all in Baltimore. They did fall down by 7 in Buffalo. They were down 10-3 in the divisional round game, which gave him a 10th career playoff game in which he's trailed by at least a touchdown or more. And the reason why we're mentioning the number 10 is because when you use that metric, since 1950, every other quarterback to start at least 10 games in which he's trailed in the playoffs by at least a touchdown. Forget about 8-2. None of them, nobody has a record even above 500. Yeah. This is what jumps off the page at me. Mahomes is 8-2. Again, we always do the math for you. That's an 800 winning percentage in games in which he's trailed in the playoffs by at least a touchdown. Tom Brady played 21 such games in his career. He's 10-11 in those. Elway, 6-7. Breeze, 6-8. Joe Montana, who we're seeing in Las Vegas as well, 4-6. That's the air of invincibility that this kid, who was down in his first Super Bowl season by at least a touchdown in every single game, divisional round, AFC Championship, Super Bowl, he won them all. And he started showing us what beats inside. And here's the eventual point to start this week about Mahomes. And don't worry, Niners fans, we'll be fair and balanced throughout the weekend, throughout the week too. We got, as I mentioned, Steve Young, Joe Montana, just as guests. But I want to just point out what we're witnessing here and what the Niners have in front of them is this team that Mahomes is bringing into the playoffs. And I know Chiefs Kingdom will be like, what are you talking about? It's the truth. By every metric, the worst team that Mahomes has had. Period. And the pushback you might be giving me, oh, this defense, whatever. I'm talking about these stats because Andy Reid, alongside Mahomes, is heading, as we know, first ballot Hall of Famer. Among Andy Reid's 5 Super Bowl teams now, 5. Okay, Philadelphia, and then what he's done in Kansas City. Among his 5 Super Bowl teams that he's had, the 11-6 record, worst. The points per game, 21.8, worst for Reid. Did you know that the turnover margin the Chiefs have is -11? And if they win on Sunday, that would be the worst turnover margin by a Super Bowl champion ever.
Wow.
The 07 Giants that shocked your Patriots had a turnover differential of -9. Mahomes is overcoming all of this with, obviously, the defensive help as a defensive unit that is championship quality. But even with championship quality, their turnover differential this season was -11. Their point differential was only +77. That's the worst of any of the Andy Reid Super Bowl teams. McNabb and T.O. and Tyreek and Mahomes, Kelsey, for 4 of them. They better, the Niners, get up, take a lead, and hang on. Because here comes the best comeback quarterback in the history of the playoffs. 8-2 after you get him down by a touchdown, including this Niners team that had him down by 10 with 7 minutes to go. Unbelievable what we are witnessing. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.